And like everybody know ain't no party like a Diddy party, so.
Yeah,
LeBron James has faced pressure before, but never like this. The greatest player of his generation now finds his name tangled in two of the most explosive investigations of 2025. The downfall of music mogul Sean Diddy Combs.
Sean Diddy Combs was back in court today for the first time since his federal trafficking trial. He was acquitted of the most serious criminal charges and found guilty on two lesser charges.
And the FBI's widening probe into insider betting across the NBA. No charges, no statements, just silence. And in a world where silence speaks volumes, fans are starting to wonder what the king might be trying to protect.
Your winning streak has ended. Your luck has run out. Violating the law is a losing proposition, and you can bet on that.
Because what began as a lawsuit about one man's night of horror has now reached all the way into the highest levels of professional basketball. It started with one lawsuit, filed in Manhattan federal court this summer. The plaintiff, a man in his 40s, said he was invited to what he thought was a glamorous Miami gathering on Star Island back in 2015. Instead, he claims he was drugged, humiliated, and assaulted in front of a crowd of powerful celebrities. The host, Sean Diddy Combs. The guest list, a who's who of entertainment royalty, Beyoncé, Jay-Z, Gloria Estefan, and one name no one expected, LeBron James. In court documents reviewed by multiple outlets, the plaintiff alleges LeBron was in the room when the chaos unfolded, that he turned away, whispering to someone nearby, "You'll better do something about that." If true, it means the NBA's biggest star may have witnessed something no one should ever see, and chose to disappear into the crowd.
And like everybody know ain't no party like a Diddy party, so.
yeah,
At the time, it was just another celebrity rumor. But after Diddy's empire collapsed this year under charges of racketeering and trafficking, that single night became a puzzle piece in a much darker picture. And the people connecting those dots now include federal agents. But that party isn't the only thread in this story, because years later, LeBron's name would surface again, this time for something that had nothing to do with music and everything to do with money. February 9th, 2023. A text message flashes across a gambler's phone. Bet heavy on Milwaukee tonight. Bronze out. The message came from Damon Jones, a former teammate, personal trainer, and longtime friend of LeBron James. That one message sparked a multi-state investigation that would blow the lid off the NBA's biggest gambling scandal in decades. According to the Justice Department, Jones was part of a ring that used inside information about injuries to place massive bets before the public knew anything. And one of his sources, prosecutors allege, came straight from inside LeBron's own circle. The case exploded in 2025 when the FBI raided properties in 11 states, arresting more than 30 people connected to what they called an organized sports rigging and insider betting operation.
The FBI led a coordinated takedown across 11 states to arrest over 30 individuals today responsible for this case, which is very much ongoing.
Jones allegedly pocketed thousands from secret texts about LeBron's ankle soreness, game absences, and recovery timelines, information that was never public until after wagers were placed. LeBron was never charged, but his name appeared repeatedly in court filings as the unnamed athlete at the center of those tips. For most players, that would be the end of it. A friend gone rogue, nothing more. But what made this story impossible to bury was what happened next. Because just as the FBI was naming names, an old clip from years earlier suddenly resurfaced, one that tied LeBron back to Diddy. It was meant to be fun, just two friends on Instagram Live. LeBron laughing, Diddy grinning ear to ear, and that now infamous line, "Everybody knows ain't no party like a Diddy party." It went viral again this fall, the same week prosecutors unsealed new charges against Diddy. The timing couldn't have been worse. Fans replayed the clip millions of times.
Everybody know ain't no party like a Diddy party, so.
yeah, that's what's up. Yeah.
Pointing out every smirk, every laugh, every familiar face that once joined those parties. Was it guilt by association? Maybe, but the internet didn't care. The image of LeBron celebrating with Diddy became impossible to separate from the storm that followed. Reporters asked for comment, publicists dodged calls, and when Diddy's sentencing came down, 11 years, LeBron stayed quiet. No posts, no interviews, just silence. And that silence became the loudest sound in the story. In public life, silence used to mean dignity. Now it means strategy. LeBron's absence from the spotlight isn't random. Insiders close to his camp say he was told to go dark, while investigators finish combing through Diddy's business records. Why? Because those records don't just name musicians. They name everyone who ever took a check, a flight, or an invitation tied to Combs Enterprises. According to two former employees who spoke to The Athletic, Diddy's company logged guests, payments, and event partners under coded ledgers. Data the feds are now reviewing. Among those entries, consulting fees, charity event sponsorships, and private travel reimbursements connected to professional athletes.
What he could do to them professionally, maybe even personally. And so yes, it's been a dark secret they've held on to for a very, very long time.
None of it proves wrongdoing, but it creates a trail, and trails have destinations. That's why LeBron's silence feels less like avoidance and more like waiting for the smoke to clear. Even NBA executives admit behind closed doors, no one's untouchable now, because buried in those ledgers might be the one thing even LeBron can't control: evidence. Federal sources describe what they call the insurance list, an internal set of files Diddy allegedly kept as leverage, a record of guests, favors, and secrets from years of parties, sponsorships, and private encounters. Witnesses say it was his way of staying protected. If anyone turned on him, he could turn the spotlight back. Now, those same files are in government hands, and investigators have confirmed that at least one of them includes names of professional athletes and entertainers cross-referenced with wire transfers from Diddy's companies. Some transactions are labeled as consulting retainers, others as event coordination. One matches the same week LeBron appeared in a live stream celebrating Diddy's birthday. Again, no proof of guilt, but every coincidence adds tension to a narrative that already sounds like a thriller.
Diddy has essentially unlimited funds to defend this case, and I expect him to litigate it very aggressively.
Insiders say Diddy's legal team is quietly preparing a tell-all manuscript, not a memoir, but a bargaining chip. If that project names names, it could become the most dangerous piece of writing in modern pop culture. Because the moment those names hit daylight, silence becomes complicity, and the league that built its brand on integrity suddenly finds itself standing on cracked glass. The NBA has been here before: scandals, controversies, moments of reckoning, but never with someone of LeBron's stature in the crosshairs, even indirectly. When Commissioner Adam Silver addressed the gambling arrest last month, he said the league's integrity was non-negotiable. But when reporters asked if LeBron's connections were under review, he refused to say. That hesitation was all fans needed.
Integrity of the competition, and so I had a pit in my stomach.
Speculation turned into headlines. And Jaylen Brown, LeBron's occasional rival, turned it into ammunition. He began posting cryptic emojis on social media: clocks, cages, snakes. One post simply read, "The truth looks different when your bodyguard's gone." Fans thought it was just trash talk, but insiders told Sportskeeda it was about Diddy and how his imprisonment left LeBron unprotected. The rivalry between the two men suddenly looked less like basketball and more like a coded war over secrets. And as Diddy reportedly faces threats inside prison, even one alleged attack with a blade to his throat, the danger doesn't feel theoretical anymore. If he talks, he lives. If he stays silent, he stays safe. It's a chilling parallel to LeBron's own predicament outside those walls. Because what's really at stake here isn't one man's reputation, it's the illusion that fame can still buy safety. So what happens now? Prosecutors continue reviewing hundreds of pages of Diddy's business files, financial ledgers, and messages. The NBA continues its quiet cooperation with federal investigators on the betting case. Meanwhile, LeBron's team keeps a low profile. No comments, no denials, no public appearances beyond the court, but the walls are closing in. Multiple sources claim witnesses in Diddy's orbit are negotiating plea deals, and some of them reportedly include details about high-profile guests at private events.
And they seize cases and cases of the kinds of personal lubricant and baby oil that Combs' staff allegedly used to stock hotel rooms for the freak-offs. More than 1,000 bottles altogether.
If any of those witnesses mention LeBron's name under oath, even in passing, it could reshape his public image forever. Not as a criminal, but as a symbol of how power connects across industries and how loyalty turns into liability. Because if Diddy flips, he won't just drag down his business partners. He'll drag down the myth that anyone, no matter how famous, can stay untouched when the empire falls apart. And that brings us to the one question no one in sports wants to answer. When the history of this era is written, the fall of Diddy will be remembered as one of the biggest celebrity implosions ever. But it might also expose how deep the roots of that power ran, from nightclubs to locker rooms, from record deals to sponsorships, from one man's private empire to the entire sports world. LeBron James may never be charged. He may never even be questioned. But in 2025, the story isn't about guilt.
What the victims, the fish, didn't know is that everybody else at the poker game, from the dealer to the players, including the face cards, were in on the scam.
It's about connection, a lawsuit about a single night, a gambling text about a single game, a friendship that blurred entertainment and athletics. Together they form a pattern that's becoming impossible to ignore. LeBron's silence could be wisdom, or it could be fear. Either way, the world is listening. So as Diddy sits behind bars and the FBI digs deeper, one question remains. Can silence protect a king when the court of public opinion has already rendered its verdict? Let me know what you think below, because this story isn't finished. It's only getting louder. Until next time, stay sharp, stay curious, and don't look away.